guys? Thanks for clicking on this video and tuning in to another episode here of Real Talks. I'm your host, Brady, Carducci, and today on the show, man to my left, I'm super excited to talk with this guy. He's a Toronto-based performer, poet, writer, pianist, all-around curator of good vibes. Welcome to the show, Shane Chambers.
Thank you.
How's it going? No
Great.
problem, man.
Thanks
Really excited to
excited.
sit down with you today. Just have the audience kind of dive into your story, talk a little bit about your book and a few other things too. So I'm excited. But before we get to that stuff, I wanted to kind of cover and really dive into a little bit about your passion for poetry and writing. So what was it about poetry in the beginning that made you gravitate towards it and then eventually fall in love with it?
I just personally feel like it's a great way, like all types of art, it's an amazing way to like express yourself. And the way it started, when we were younger, like my brother and my friends, we would watch this show called Def Poetry Jam.
Okay, I've heard of that. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
amazing,
Uh-huh.
and it's on YouTube. And we would watch these, not together, but like we would all watch the same things.
Right.
And I would watch these guys like tell these stories, and I felt like it's crazy, that other people are going through these things that are so relatable.
Okay.
And yeah, I guess through a young age, it was embedded inside of me to like write, kind of express the way I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how it first started, like just watching how people perform and like write what they feel.
Okay. Now in school was writing some like English class, was that like your favorite subject then? Okay.
I actually took every English class they offered.
Oh really?
But not because at the time I liked English.
Okay.
I don't even know, like looking back, I was just like, wow, I took every English class.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Horror fiction, literary, poetry.
Oh.
Yeah, it was great. I loved English, so yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So obviously, I feel like the process of developing your skills as a writer is obviously a lot different than, let's say an athlete, a scientist, or an accountant.
Definitely.
An athlete, they're in the gym practicing jump shots,
Yeah.
But early on, how did you go about like developing your craft and making sure, your penmanship was, constantly elevating?
Elevating? It's a good question. I think it is kind of similar to being an athlete. Like the more you do it, the more you'll get out of it, right?
Yeah, repetition.
Yeah, so I was writing, and like the things that I wrote maybe a few years ago might not be as good as like what I'm writing now,
Right.
So
Yeah.
so it is similar to like being an athlete. Like you're not going to get that jump shot unless you practice. So that's how I got into it. Like I was just writing, and then some flows and some structures just came naturally to me.
Okay.
Just because I was able to write so much at the time, and like it just became something I loved to do. So
okay.
that's how it happened.
Now, did you have anybody in terms of like, I don't know, like mentors, maybe like an English teacher or inspirations that like helped you to really like pursue poetry, or was it kind of just all yourself and wanting to do it?
Not in regards to the writing.
Okay.
I was always writing like in high school and before that. I wasn't putting it out there as much as I am now.
Okay.
But in regards to what I'm doing now, like the shows or performances, I have great friends, and they really, if I'm having a bad day or if I'm like not feeling confident, like they'll push me.
Okay,
so
that's good. So you got a good, you got a good
yeah,
circle.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's
definitely.
key. That's key.
Yeah.
I know when I was in school and stuff, like elementary school, they'd have talent shows and all that. Would you, back in your day, would you enter kind of talent shows to showcase your poetry? Or?
Not for poetry, not for anything really.
Okay.
But no talent shows for me, no.
Okay. So, I find, at least for me, starting anything new, and I guess for most people as well, it's definitely a fearful thing, stepping out of your comfort zone.
Definitely.
It's definitely something, like you were saying before, your friends pushing you, so it's something you definitely have to be pushed to do. But, early on, did you experience any struggles or fears? And then maybe in those moments where you're extremely fearful to take that step, what were you telling yourself to really, push yourself to overcome that?
I definitely struggled with putting yourself out there. I feel like it's it's not difficult, but it's fearful, especially because we live in a world, there's so much access to everyone these days, and especially social media has really become a part of our lives. So when I would put some things out there, I didn't necessarily take other opinions to heart. Okay. But it's definitely fearful to actually like cross over that bridge and say, you know what, let me just do what I want to do. And like luckily, I've gotten good feedback. So
that's good.
I'm gonna keep doing it. So yeah, it's good.
Now, when you're sitting down and you're writing, is there any points where maybe like, you know, you're talking about a specific thing in your poetry or your writing, and maybe like are you sometimes fearful to put that out to have people read that, or is it kind of like you don't worry about that until kind of after the fact?
Yeah, I definitely I don't want to write something and look on it in like a year or 2 or 3 years ago and be like, you know, we could have definitely edited that out, you know. So even with the things I'm writing now, I look at it and say like, is this going to age well? Is this going to be something I regret? So I still do it constantly, and I've done it before where I had to like take some things out. Just so I know that like looking back at it, I can be like, you know what, like this used to define who I was at the time, whatever I may have been feeling, but we're over that. So it's very good to go over what you've done and make sure it ages well.
Now, just when it comes to your writing, do you put a lot of like, do you use your own like personal experiences? Do you take from movies? Like, how do you, like when you're sitting down and wanting to come up with something to write, like what's your process like in terms of like formulating your thoughts and putting it on paper?
Definitely. I can draw personally, like I've drawn inspiration from literally anyone and anything. I could be having a conversation like me and you right now, and maybe go home and like, okay, that was really good. You might not know you've inspired me, or I'll watch a movie, pull out my phone quickly and quickly write like a quick note and say, or describe what these two people I might be watching, like what they might be feeling, and try to make a story that I can relate to and put my own opinion on it. So in the case of being inspired, I can draw from pretty much whatever that I can relate to.
Okay, that's awesome. So, you know, you just recently released your book back in October, Glitter and Gold. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
So it actually peaked as the #2 poetry book in Canada, which when I saw that, I was like, man, that's crazy. Like I couldn't even, I couldn't even imagine that. But bring me back to, you know, those initial stages when, you know, you're like, oh, okay, you know, I want to put a book out. So, you know, just explain to me why you decided to put a book out and kind of your whole thought process behind that.
I wanted to do something creative, and I remember I was speaking with my mom, and she let me know, like, if you're not gonna, you know, make a difference, what's the point? Like, this is when I was pitching the idea, like, I want to do something. So I began to, you know, do some writing, and I would send it to a few people, and a lot of the people would, like, you know, they would relate to it, and they say, wow, like, I felt that I was this person you were talking about. Like, I wrote, I feel like you wrote that for me. So as I began to like write these pages, this is before I knew I wanted it to be a book. I was just in like this mode of just like writing and like getting things done, and from that I was able to divide all these pages into 3 chapters, for you, for me, and for us. So anything I felt like someone else can relate to, like for you, I'd put it in for you. The second chapter for me, it's about me, and I would put my personal experiences, my stories in there, and then for us, I feel like it's something everyone can relate to. So yeah, that's definitely how it got started. That's how it became the book, and I'm very happy with it right now. It's my baby right now, you know?
It's like a child, you know?
I'm super stoked.
That's awesome. So, you know, when you put out this your book back in October, I know you signed a deal with the Good Quote Publishing Company.
Yes.
So, I just want to know a little bit behind how that opportunity came about, and then, you know, what was it about the Good Quote that made you want to sign with them rather than going with, you know, let's say another publishing house?
That's such a great question. This is something that I've never shared with anyone. You're breaking news right now.
There you go. Hey, we're breaking news, guys.
I never was signed by a few publishing companies. Like, I would put myself out there. I've UPS'd my book to like a couple, like McMill and other literary agencies, and they all rejected me. Like, and I still have the emails in my inbox, and I have them saved. Like, you know, unfortunately, like, you didn't meet our requirements, or unfortunately, this is not what we're looking for.
In your head, you're probably like, you know what, just wait, I'll show you.
And honestly, it was great motivation. It was great motivation for me. So at the time, the Good Quote, it's managed by this agent. His name is Wale, and he's the one who emailed me, and it's curated by Megan Roxanne. So they posted something saying, if you guys know anyone who has a book, please tag them. And by the time I saw it, like some people were tagging me in it.
Oh, wow.
But by the time I saw it, it had like 30,000 like comments. So many people
had tagged their friends or whoever, yeah.
So I was saying like, yeah, there's no way. It was too late anyways. Yeah. And actually by the time I saw it, it was deleted. The post wasn't even there anymore. Someone actually sent it to me through a screenshot. About a month later, like it was in my head, but then it was just out of my head. A month later, I had an email that said The Good Quote Publishing, and like I lost feelings in my life. I was like, what? So I called my brother. I told him. He was like super stoked. I called my mom. So we were going back and forth, and they have this other artist. Her name's Teenie Edwards. That she signed with them too. So we were going back and forth, and I'm like, is this real? She's like, yeah, it's pretty real. Like, this is what they did to me. I was like, wow. And she's great too. Like, I want to give her a shout out. She's been helping me through a lot, and she's based out in the UK.
Okay.
But the reason why I signed with these guys, other than the people who rejected me anyways, like they have such a huge audience. Like they have millions of people like watching and reading what they post, and speaking about Teenie, the other artist that they recently signed, like Khloe Kardashian reposted one of her poems.
Oh, wow.
And so I was thinking like, wow, like these guys have such an audience, you know, Khloe Kardashian, Bianca Andreescu, like, not to say these people are more important than, you know, my friends or anyone else reading what I write, but it was definitely an incentive for me to, you know, sign with these guys, get my things out there to a bigger audience. So it was great. I thank them a lot for it.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what, also too, it's like at the time I'm thinking like, you know, when you first got those 2 rejections, you're probably like, oh man, like is someone ever gonna sign me? And then it's just like, it's almost like the universe or God or whoever, it's like comes around and it's like, no, you know what, there's a reason I didn't get you with those 2. Honestly, I'm giving you something better.
Honestly, because if I were to sign with the other agents, I wouldn't be able to sign with who I'm with right now, right?
Yeah. So do you think about that at all? Like just reflect. I can imagine.
It's crazy. I was thinking about it on the way here. I was like, wow, could you imagine like if I got accepted by whoever rejected me and I wouldn't be able to do this, you know, because they're big, but like the Good Quote is so Instagram active and like they're everywhere, right? So I was very, very happy, and I'm still like so thankful when I think about it.
So shout out the Good Quote and then the whole team. So more about your book. So the main themes in your book are, you know, are love, redemption, and forgiveness. So I want to get your take on what these 3 emotions mean to you. And then this is how do you? Because I feel like a lot of people will you know, get a lot of value from this next question. But how do you deal with circumstances where, you know, a situation requires you to be loving or forgiving, and maybe you're just like, man, I really don't want to forgive that person. Like, you know, he did so and so to me. I just can never forgive him. Like, how do you kind of put those like initial ego emotions aside and then kind of change your mindset to be more loving and forgiving?
That's crazy.
I know it's a loaded question, but
it's a crazy question.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Yeah.
So love is like, it's so universal, right? And there's so many ways you can show it, so many ways you can say it. But the whole forgiveness, especially with love, I found that like in the time of my writing, there were days where like I would wake up so like frustrated or like angry or like sad, and I was focused on like these 3 like emotions, like just waking up angry, not wanting to talk to anyone. And it was coming in between my writing, right? Like I would want to write something happy, but I can't because I'm feeling sad. And I even made a note while I was writing, like, write what you feel. So if I'm feeling like all these negative, like strong and heavy emotions, like that's all that I'm gonna produce. So one day I just told myself, like, you just gotta let it go, you know, let the butterfly fly. And
I like that, let the butterfly fly.
Yeah, I just thought of that. And so in doing that, like, I was just holding on to like such like heavy feelings, and once I let it go, I was like, you know what, like you gotta just like forgive whoever may have done something to you, or forgive yourself. And once I was able to do that, I realized whatever you focus on, you'll definitely get more of, right? And that can be positive, that can be negative. So once I was able to like start being, you know, a little more free, a little more light, I was like, you know what, I feel good. you know, like my aura, my energy is different. You can't talk
the
to me.
chakras are aligned.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I was able to just really like become a lighter person, and I really believe in that. Like, although it's hard sometimes to move on from certain situations, you always got to find time for yourself and just reflect and just forgive. You know, forgive the people who may have crossed you, the people who may come at you differently, but no one's perfect, right? And you really have to understand that no one's perfect. People do make mistakes, and I was able to just like realize that for myself and made that lesson, and then I just moved on. So
awesome. Now, did you know, when you were going through that process of really letting go all those negative emotions? Obviously, you know, I can imagine like there's probably you know, your energy changed. Did you notice a change in, you know, your people's like, not, I don't want to say perception of you, but like your relationships maybe with your family or your friends? Like, did they interact with you differently or anything? Or?
I honestly, I was dealing with it like by myself, so I wouldn't necessarily project, you know, anything. Like I wouldn't like burst out in like anger to like people, you know. But I've been told like, yo, wow, Shane, like you look so like different today. You know? Like, Shane, you lost weight, but I didn't lose weight. You know, I would just feel lighter. And I think, you know, once you're not frowning as much, once you can smile more, you're able to like just show and like, you know, show people, yeah, I'm happy. So it's a good lesson to learn.
Definitely, I relate with that as well, because you know, there's been times in my life where, you know, I'm just so in a state, like you said, you kind of have the blinders on. You're just in a state of go, or you're just in a state of got to get this done, or you know, you're feeling a type of way, so that dominant emotion dominates your everything. And I do notice a change in when you let go of that, and it's like, okay, you know what, you kind of feel like a new person.
You do,
which is
it's
so
like
true.
You just leveled up.
Exactly, level up. So you know, that's good. So. Another topic I wanted to touch on is mental health, especially you know, with you know what you do, and then obviously being involved with the Good Quote and their advocacy with mental health. I feel especially within these, I would say within the last couple of years, like mental health is really on the forefront. I feel like a lot of people are really, you know, making it a priority in their life.
Definitely.
So you know, when I read your poetry, just from my point of view, I find it to be very raw, very uplifting, but there's always a message behind what you write. So what I want to know is, you know, do you make it a point to not just slap some words on a piece of paper? You know, could probably word that a better way, but put some words on a piece of paper. But do you really focus on writing something that is going to help the end reader?
At first, I guess I was doing it for myself. But then when like I said earlier, I was being told like, wow, I feel like I was this person.
Right.
So I do make it a point to make sure whatever I am putting out, I want to make sure it's not, like you said, just words on a paper, right?
Right, yeah.
I'm very particular in the words I use, the way it's formed, just so the reader can kind of hear what I'm saying to them. And I feel like, back to what I was saying, I got to make sure it ages well, right?
Of course.
So that's why I am particular in what I write, what I say, and like how I do it. But in regards to making sure I write for someone else, I guess half of my art would be for that other person, because I don't know who's reading it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I know people are, so.
Okay. Yeah. Now, when you're writing something, like, do you go and I guess you're putting a message behind it. Do you go through like drafts, or you know, this line I need to change, or is it? Because I'm assuming it's not just like you know, you just put pen to paper one time and the draft is done.
Yeah. I do. Sometimes I'll even, like, I have so many poems on my phone. I'll just do it quickly, just to like paraphrase. And then I'll go back to it when I'm ready to like revisit it. I'll go back to it and I'll like switch this word here, put this word there, and it's definitely a process. The writing is definitely a process. You gotta go back at it. You gotta tweak this, tweak that, make sure it flows right. So I definitely do that.
Now, speaking of the Good Quote again, you know, like I mentioned earlier, they're really focused on advocating for mental health. So how is being, you know, aligned with them and just, you know, interacting with people in their organization, how has it really opened your eyes to the importance of mental health, and then how I think poets in particular have a certain ability to help people through their writing who may be going through a tough mental time? Definitely.
So yeah, like you said, they do a good job at like advocating for those things about like being happy and being positive, you know, and that's why they have such a large audience. Like they have millions of people, and I think it's important because we're always on our phones, you know. Unfortunately, we're always on, you know, and like on Instagram. And I found that I'd go on my Instagram and I just see like things that like weren't necessarily what would represent me, I guess, throughout my days or like throughout my life. So once I started following them and like they'd have a quote like, "Oh, you got this," or like something positive, you know, like gives you a little smile, give you a little chuckle, and like what like I'm intaking, I'll eventually put it out there, right?
Yeah.
So and especially in today's age, everything is so digital. So I that's why I really give it up to them for making it their job, literally, to put out good things, because there's so much toxic content also on Instagram or like anywhere you go, right? Even, for example, the music that you're listening to or the food that you're eating, you know, like all of that really flows through your body. So I really made it a point, especially with signing with them, to go with them and like have that positive message.
No, that's a good point you make too, because I find like, you know, it really matters like who you follow and what you're kind of intaking, because that, you know, you may not know, but that has a subconscious effect on your brain, right?
Oh, definitely.
So it's like, you know, like for example, like Six Buzz, like I follow Six Buzz and they have a lot of funny stuff, but it's like some of the times I'm like, oh man, you know what, like some of the stuff they post, no shade at Six Buzz or anything, right? But you know, it's just like being conscious of what you're intaking and making sure it's a positive message.
Definitely,
so,
I agree with that.
So I wanted to, you know, kind of see where your head's at we're in 2020 now. What's your mindset going, you know, for the rest of the year? Do you have any goals or anything in particular you want to accomplish? Any new projects in the works?
You're about to break news again.
Oh, there we go. Hey, twice in one interview.
I've got, knock on wood, I've got this project. It's called Something Special.
Okay.
That I'm trying to release in like July of this year, this summer. Okay. So what it is, it's quotes and pages of my book that are on these shirts. They're designed and everything. I just hope I'm able to get them here on time. So what the idea is, I'm going to do exchanges. So for someone who wants like a shirt or whatever from me, I'm going to ask them to donate a shirt to me so they can get a shirt from me. My buddy, he has this massive truck. It's literally a moving truck. Okay. And my goal is to fill that truck with all these clothes. And I'm still looking at a few charities. I think I have one in mind. But I do want to donate everything I've collected to this charity, because I know, you know, there are so many people, obviously, who don't have the means to, you know, have this, that, the other, especially teenagers who might be in school and their parents can't afford to give them clothes or the newest whatever it may be.
The newest shoe or the newest,
So, and it hits home. So I really want to be able to like make someone's day, and you know, let these people know, like, you know, you have options. Like you can have this, you can have that. So yeah, that's one project I'm working on this summer. Sorry.
Awesome. That's exciting. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'll come by.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. So now, for people who want to learn more about you, they want to buy your book, read more of your work, you know, where can they find you at?
They can get me on my Instagram. It's called Bring Me Your Love.
Okay.
That's City and Color's second album, if you ever listen to City
and
Color.
I've heard of them. I haven't listened to their stuff.
Amazing stuff. It's my favorite album, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bring Me Your Love. If they want to check my stuff out, it's at Indigo. It's with the good quote also. Okay. Yeah, basically that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And one thing that just popped in my head is, I saw you did, I don't know if it was last year in the summertime, but you did like a spoken word performance.
Yes, I did.
Are you going to be doing any more performances like that coming up?
Hopefully soon. I think the next one, you're about to break news for the third time. Like you're on a roll. It's going to be in New York with Teeny.
Wow.
Yeah, we're trying to do something there. April, so I don't know how that's going to work. I hope, hopefully it works out. If not, we'll do something soon. But yeah, hopefully I can do another performance sooner than later.
Okay, that's exciting. So just before we end off here, we just, you know, with all of our guests, we play a little quick rapid fire question game just to, you know, have the audience kind of know you a little bit better.
Definitely.
So I guess the first question is, are you a Harry Potter guy, Lord of the Rings? Which one do you kind of
Definitely
prefer?
Harry Potter.
There we go, okay.
What about you?
Harry Potter guy too.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, I haven't watched all of the Lord of the Rings, but I don't know, I'm just more of a Harry Potter guy.
Yeah, definitely. Just
the books are good too.
I didn't read it.
Oh, no? Okay.
No, but definitely movies hits home. Beautiful.
100%. Do you have a favorite author or poet?
Author or poet? Probably myself right now. Without sounding, you know?
No.
But yeah, I think I'm my favorite.
Okay, that's good. This is a good question. So do you prefer to listen to like an audiobook or read a physical book?
I've never listened to an audiobook.
Really?
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
gotta get into that, like podcast audiobooks. But no, physical book. I like to be able to hold it, read it, you know. But
turn the pages.
Turn the page. I want to hear my voice.
True,
while
in your
I'm reading
brain.
it.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So definitely physical book right now.
Yeah. But check out if you're ever wanting to do audiobooks. Audible's a good app for that.
Yeah, that's something I might be working on with them. But,
okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, Xbox or PlayStation?
Okay.
This is kind of a big question. I don't know.
Holy moly. Okay, when it comes to Call of Duty,
okay,
all the smoke is on Xbox. I'm telling you guys, it's on Xbox.
Right. That's where the competition's at?
Even with 2K.
2K.
PlayStation, they're the only ones who have MLB. You know, I love.
True.
So,
yeah.
But definitely Xbox. Whoever wants the Call of Duty smoke.
Call of Smoke. Do you want to maybe shout out your
Shane
gamer
Sauce
tag?
47.
Okay.
Shane Sauce 47.
Anyone who wants to smoke, he's ready for it. So
yeah.
That's funny. So last one, are you a tea or a coffee guy?
Probably tea.
Tea?
Yeah, coffee gets my heart going, and
yeah.
I think I'm having a heart attack every
Any
time.
tea in particular?
Orange pekoe.
Okay.
Chamomile.
Chamomile, yeah.
Relaxes the nervous system.
It does.
Yeah, no, scientifically. Yeah. What about you?
Honestly, mine, I would say, I'm not a big tea guy, but if I had to pick one, probably either green tea or chamomile would be my choice.
Yeah.
For the relaxation part.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Benefits.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So that wraps it up. Shane, thanks
for coming. It was
coming
such a
on,
pleasure.
man. Really
honestly,
appreciate
such
it,
a pleasure.
honestly.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks for tuning in at home. Really appreciate your time and attention. If you'd like to keep up to date on everything Real Collective, we'll leave all of our social links in the description box below. Shane, again, thank you.
It was a
guys,
pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thank
talk
you.
to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Good conversation, man.
Thank you.
Really
I
enjoyed
loved it. I loved it. That was sick.